buttons correct. I would have. Where's the video? What happened?
Just
to the
play
video?
the fucking song, Mark.
Shut up, Ben. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And we are very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And it is great to see everybody. The chat is already hopping. Some of you guys are already deep into analysis of going up to Cleveland. Yes, and Mark was late on the song. Is it a song? I don't know that it's a song.
Well, it's a video.
Whatever the hell it is. But you'll notice that the gruesome foursome looks a little bit better tonight because our very, very good friend Ellie Finnerty is here with us tonight. And she's here for, obviously, she loves to talk Steelers and everything, but at the same time, she also attended her very first Steelers game at Acrisure Stadium this past Sunday. And, I don't know about the rest of you, but I love talking to people who have gone to the Steelers game at home for the very first time because it's an experience. I don't know any other way to say it. And as I was saying before we started recording, every time you go back, it's an experience. But as they say, also, there's nothing quite like the first time. So, Ellie, you saw the stadium the day before. You said you went down kind of to the tailgate by where Pitt was playing.
Yeah. When I obviously didn't go inside, but I was walking around that area where all the bars were, and then all the way down to, I can't remember what they call it. The Panther Prowl. I think they call it the Prowl.
Mm-hmm.
So walk down there, and so I saw it the day before, but obviously I didn't go in until Sunday.
And what was that? Can you even describe the feeling of when you went in the first time?
Hall of Honor.
It was
for Coca-Cola Hall.
Yeah, great hall.
It was literally incredible. Like, I honestly don't think I will ever be able to describe it in words, but it was amazing. I got a little bit emotional, I'm not going to lie. And then when I was finding my seat, my mum sent me a screenshot and was like, I just thought you might want to see your location. So she has like my face in Acrisure Stadium. And I thought it was so cool. Yeah.
Was she using Life 360?
She was using, like Find My iPhone, same thing, basically.
Yep.
So she used that and she sent that to me. And I was just like, I don't know, I can't even describe it. I think I was just lost for words. It was so cool. It was so cool after years and years and years from following them in a different country to then moving to the States, but being so far away, to actually coming to Pittsburgh and seeing them. It felt like a full 360 moment.
Would you compare it to I know you're a Tottenham fan in English soccer. Could you compare it to going to see them play the first time, or was this something bigger? What was it like?
Bigger for me by tenfold, because I love soccer, don't get me wrong. Like I was obviously grew up on it, but it's not the same for me. I really have never really considered myself a soccer fan. I've always been a football fan.
Gotcha.
Which sounds sacrilegious to say that as a British person, but it's the truth. And
Ian told us that you were a Liverpool fan.
No.
I swear to you, that's what Ian said.
Don't listen to anything Ben says.
That is
exactly.
despicable.
Ben, you're muted. I'm muting Ben.
No, I'm not a Liverpool fan. I am a Tottenham fan. Sometimes I'm a Cov City fan because that's my local team.
Wait, what's the local team?
Coventry City.
Oh, Coventry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
Coventry
I have heard of that
City.
one.
Yes.
What level are they right now? Are they like League One, League Two?
Yeah, so League One, I believe.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
No, wait. What's the next? What? I'm really bad at this. What is if you have the Premier League?
Premier
next
League,
one down.
EFL.
Premier League, Championship, League Two, League One.
I think it's second
Oh,
tier.
then they must be. They're the second tier, whatever that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
EFL.
believe.
Yeah,
I don't know what EFL is.
Scarpino's all over it. He's got it.
I might be a degenerate gambler, just saying.
If you're gambling on European football, my friend, you might have.
Oh my God, Tottenham is not the Browns of the EPL. Who said that?
I don't know.
We have a controversy right off the bat. Ellie will obviously get your input a little bit more. I do want to get the rest of these gentlemen get their thoughts on what happened Sunday, and I will do so with let's just start with this. Mr. Scarpino.
Oh, great.
Yeah, you got that right, buddy. Why are you so against Justin Fields coming in the red zone?
Oh, that's one way to open it.
We're going all for it. We're going all in right now.
First of all, I just want to say hello, Ellie. Good to see you again.
Hello.
You bring a level of sophistication to the show that is much needed and necessary.
Especially when you're swearing in British. We love that.
Yes.
I'm trying not to do that right now, to be honest.
Well, you're going to have to a little bit before you leave. So just so you know.
So thank you. I am not a big fan of bringing in a cold quarterback who has had snap issues.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have anything to do with Justin Fields' athletic ability. I think he's probably the best athlete on offense when he's on the field. But this just goes down to making changes for the sake of making changes. I do not trust Justin Fields to come in the red zone and perform as he's cold. I went back and looked at the numbers between him and Russ in the red zone. Fields is more accurate. They both have 4 passing touchdowns. Fields has 4 more rushing touchdowns than Russ. And that's wonderful and all, but I think we could all agree who the better passer is. It's Russ. So, and also, oh, Jesus Christ. Can I finish?
Scarps, finish your thought.
Okay. Listen, there is a reason why Russ was brought in, and there's a reason why Mike went to Russ when Russ was healthy.
Sure.
And if you're going to start Russ, but as soon as you get into the red zone, take him out, then why are you starting him? And this, believe it or not, Russ is not the first quarterback to ever struggle in the red zone. Ben used to struggle in the red zone all the time, even for 4 games. And you know what? Even I went back and looked today that even in 2015, when Ben came back from his injury, they had in the first 4 games back, they had 8 touchdowns and 9 field goals in the red zone. And in Russ's 4 starts, they have 7 touchdowns and 9 field goals. I mean, so if we're gonna say, oh, Russ sucks in the red zone, did Ben suck in the red zone? Maybe they were struggling, but did anybody say, oh, Mike Vick should come in for Ben in 2015? Put in Mike Vick or put in Josh Dobbs when Ben struggled in the red zone.
I think your very last point is it's hard to get around that, because nobody would have ever replaced Ben Roethlisberger in the red zone. They just wouldn't have mattered who was over there. And I think, has Russell Wilson earned that same kind of respect that you don't pull him out of there? That's debatable. I would say
he should.
I would say I agree.
Okay.
I agree. But at the same time, I know we have some people here who might feel a little bit differently. Ben, go ahead.
Well, I think the issue in the red zone revolves around 2 things. One, the offensive line is not performing well. They're not. Okay. It starts right there. The foundation of the offense, especially the tackles, are not performing well. They're allowing too much pressure. And I don't care what anyone says, Russ cannot see over the goddamn line. When he gets pressured, he can't step up into the pocket and throw. He's got to be back enough, far enough to find an open receiver and get the ball out. And here's an interesting statistic. Again, this is red zone. When Russ is holding the ball this is overall. When he holds the ball and gets rid of it, he gets rid of the ball in 3 seconds or less. He's got a completion percentage of 70%. When he holds the ball for longer than 3 seconds, 3.2, 3.5, whatever, his completion percentage is 44%. So he's got to get the ball out. He's got to get the ball out. And the thing he's doing in the red zone, the second thing that I was alluding to before, is he's holding on to the fucking ball. He's trying to find somebody who's open. Now, you could definitely point back at that Darnell Washington toss where it went over Darnell and hit the DB, and it was an easy interception.
Yep.
Darnell wasn't even looking for the damn ball.
No.
Okay. So you can blame it on Darnell's effort, or you can say, hey, his coach should have been in his ear going, hey, man, you need to be looking for the ball. You need to have awareness. You need to be continually trying to get open when there's a broken play like that. Don't run back toward the play necessarily, but try to get open.
And I want to come back to that play and a couple others related to that. Ian, I want to give you a chance because I know you're a little bit more on board with bringing Fields in.
I am, but can I back up a minute here too? So I was also at the game. This is my first game this year, and this was the best crowd that I'd seen since Roethlisberger's final game at Heinz Field. The crowd was walking into the stadium. The looks on people's faces, you could tell they were locked in. Like, people just had this look of like quiet determination. There wasn't it wasn't a party atmosphere. It wasn't people trash talking. It almost had a playoff type feel to it, that people just looked locked in. Like, they knew it was Steelers Ravens. They were engaged. And for a 1:00 Sunday game, like, the fans were on it. And it was a night and day difference from that 49ers game last year where their fans took over our stadium. I mean, I saw a handful of people in purple. Now, we sit on the visitor side, so we're behind the visitors bench. So usually our side has a few more visiting fans, but there were not that many Ravens fans there. And, I probably could count on one hand the number I saw in my section, which was vastly different from the probably 40% 49ers fans in the opener last year. So it was a great atmosphere. And the other thing I'll say is Steelers Ravens, all that matters is winning, right? It doesn't matter that we had red zone trips that didn't convert into touchdowns. We won the damn game, right? You almost treat this like a playoff game. We're not going to say, oh, our last playoff victory came in Kansas City when Chris Boswell kicked 5 field goals, but that doesn't count as a playoff win because we didn't score a touchdown.
Yes.
6 field goals, right? Like, we won the damn game. We went to the AFC Championship that year. Doesn't matter if we scored a touchdown or not. We scored more points than the other team. Now, long term, is that a sustainable way to play football? No. But in this game, you throw everything else out because of who the opponent is, and weird shit just happens in these games, and you do whatever it takes to win. Okay, on to Justin Fields in the red zone. I like using Justin Fields in the red zone, but I feel like it can't be the only thing that you do. It has to be a situational thing. So maybe first or second down, yes, probably wouldn't use him on third down, but what Fields can do when Russ is in there, Russ isn't going to run on a designed run. He's not going to run a read option. So those defensive ends are going to crash down on Najee or Warren or whoever's in the backfield going straight ahead. When Fields had success, it was on those read option plays where he'd, fake the handoff and tuck it and go around the end and pretty much be able to walk into the end zone. It stresses the defense laterally in a way that Russell can't in the running game. And I think that different dimension was arguably the most successful part of Justin Fields' game, was being able to run the ball into the end zone in short yardage situations near the goal line. So why not use him in those situations?
Yeah.
It gives you something different, and it's something different to have to defend against. So I'm I wouldn't go all Justin Fields in the red zone. I'm not saying like, oh, we're inside the 20, time to put Fields in. But if you have 1st and goal from the 5 or 6 yard line, throw him in there for a play or two and see what happens.
Why though?
Yeah, go ahead. Scarps, retort.
How is Russ supposed to get better if you're taking him out? Like again, like okay.
Listen, is it about Russ getting better or is it about scoring touchdowns?
Okay.
The latter.
I
think.
Okay.
Listen,
Okay.
Yeah.
About the latter.
You're both right.
Please fucking
You're
tell me that you
both
would be
right.
okay with replacing Ben Roethlisberger. And everybody on Twitter today that told me that, oh, Russ isn't as good as Ben was. Russ has played in 50 less games than Ben. And if you project Russ's stats over the next 50 games, he's a lot closer to Ben Roethlisberger than you sacred Yinzers hold. These Yinzers hold Ben in this fucking highest regard. Who was it? Darrell Bevel? Who was it? Fucking Seahawks. Darrell Bevel hands the ball to Marshawn Lynch instead of letting Russ throw that ball, which was an amazing play by Malcolm Butler. Yes. We have a totally different view of Russell Wilson now than we do. So if you're saying that, at the 6 yard line, take Russell Wilson out and put Justin Fields in because he can run. That's fucking great.
I'm not going to compare the two.
Okay,
I'm looking at this iteration.
One last thing, and I'll stop. Wait until Justin Fields fumbles the fucking ball and see what you all think about that.
2 things. One, I'm not going to compare. I'm going to compare this iteration, this guy that I've seen play in Pittsburgh for what now 4 games.
Yeah,
I'm going to look at that guy and I'm going to go, okay, this is how well he's playing or not playing in the red zone, and he's not playing well in the red zone. He's not. Okay, the end. So yes, you try something else, but you're right in so much as you don't necessarily trust a guy who's had issues with snaps and handling snaps, bring him in cold. So I agree with you. You put him on the bike, on the sidelines. You have him practicing the snaps, taking snaps from your backup center before you put him on the field. And you keep him warm all the time. I agree with you in so much as that. But I also agree with Ian because at the end of the day, this is about how many points you score, especially in a game like Ravens-Steelers, which is usually settled between 3 points, 2 points. This is just the way it comes down.
Mm-hmm.
You get an 18-point win versus the Ravens. You're like, yeah, that's Steelers Ravens. It is what it is, man.
So why is this game any bigger than any other game you played or this is? Is it because you want to talk shit to Ravens fans? No,
I want the win, and these are really hard to come by.
Yeah,
and I don't understand. I don't understand why our defense plays so well against this offense. I don't understand why Lamar Jackson has such shitty games versus the Steelers. Why he's got a 1-4 record now. I don't understand why Henry averages 62 yards a game for his career. By the way, 62 yards a game versus the Steelers. I don't understand any of that. I don't get it. I'm just grateful for it. I'm really glad that Boswell was awesome on Sunday and that Justin Tucker wasn't.
Okay. I know it's a couple. I'm just saying that, why is this game more important than beating the Raiders?
Because it's a divisional game, man. It's a game and a half, really. If you think about it, the standings.
But these are professional athletes. I understand it's a rivalry, and I appreciate the rivalry. But this isn't some college bullshit. These are professional athletes. So why are you weighing this game more than others? Is it so you can go on? Is it so you can be like, oh, we beat the Ratbirds this time?
No, I don't care.
No, it's our rivals. It's a division game, and they're right there with us always neck and neck for the division title. So if you want to win, Cowher always said you win the division, you get a bye, you try and win the AFC Championship, then you go to the Super Bowl, right? And winning the division starts with beating Baltimore.
I think that the intensity gets ramped up on the field because of the rivalry, and as a result, it gets reflected within the fan bases. We ramp it up because we know that the players are going to ramp it up. It just happens.
So if the Ravens get that 2-point conversion and Justin Tucker kicks a game-winning field goal, would you feel any different about the performance than losing than winning? Because I wouldn't have, because it's just Steelers Ravens, right?
No, I would be pissed that we lost the game.
I would be too.
Yeah,
I would be pissed we lost the game, but I wouldn't I don't know how much
pissed that we lost to the Ravens or pissed that we lost the game.
Oh, both.
Both.
Okay.
So
I'm not being a dick. I'm seriously.
No, I get it. You're asking the question.
Let me
asking,
So you don't place any more importance on Ravens games than you do on.
Well,
there's a level of hatred. But there's also a level of respect. So there's an accomplishment involved in beating the Ravens. In my opinion,
I treat all games equal because these are professionals, and I've seen the Steelers lose to shitty Ravens teams before.
So I've seen them lose to shitty,
and vice versa.
I've seen them lose to shitty, terrible, fucking winless or tied the Browns one year.
Yeah.
Remember that shit? Remember when they tied the Detroit Lions? How shitty they were? Remember that game?
Yeah.
Yes.
16-all. Let me bring it back to the field thing, because there was a couple of comments in the chat, and I'm just trying to catch up with everybody. I don't think any of us are suggesting that anytime you get in the red zone or let's say inside the 5-yard line, that it's just an automatic you bring Justin Fields in. I think what's being suggested is that, maybe on occasion you do that, especially if things are struggling. Wilson is just not getting time to throw. The run game isn't there. Then maybe do it. I'm definitely not suggesting you do it every time. That to me, that's just asinine. You have to pick and choose when you're going to do it. And so I hope that I think we're all on the same page in that. I can say this too, when they're at midfield and they got a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1, I don't necessarily hate him coming in there either. He's a better QB sneaker than Russ is.
Yeah.
But I also understand Ryan's comment about the snaps too.
Yeah.
The evidence is there.
It did worry me on
know?
on the 3rd and 1 at the end of the game when they brought him in, because they put him in shotgun, and in that short yard situation, like just having the ball travel that extra distance, 5 yards back to a shotgun quarterback, even if he hands it off, whatever, like it worried me in that case, but I understood why they did it. And I'm glad that it worked out. Najee got the yard that we needed, which he wouldn't have had to get if Fields had dove headfirst instead of sliding. But nevertheless, it's definitely a pick and choose kind of thing. But I think, we all bemoan the fact that this offense couldn't score points for the last few years. And now, if you have a way to put more points on the board, why not go for it? So it's one other thing too that, you guys mentioned about Steelers losing to bad Ravens teams in the past. The Steelers in this game matched the Ravens' intensity from the get-go. Those games in the past where we lost to those shitty Ravens teams, I felt like we didn't, Harbaugh had his team fired up even though they were playing with a backup quarterback, and we just didn't match their intensity out of the gate, and we just got out-physicaled in the trenches. This game...
Maybe they matched ours.
In this game, we were. I'm just saying,
fair point,
those games that we lose to bad teams are games we don't come out playing with intensity. In this game, we were loaded with intensity. I was so excited when they started scrapping it up like early in the game. And
hate Ohio State.
But the little scrap early in the game, right, the play before Broderick Jones got his unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, when they probably should have called offsetting flags the first time. But I was excited to see that much emotion and intensity out of our team, because you knew they were dialed in.
Ellie, I want to bring Ellie in. I assume you've attended matches, games, whatever, that have been rivalries. And, I know you don't have any other Steelers games to compare it to, because...
Ever been to a fist fight?
Well, yeah. Your first ever Steelers game is a Ravens rock fight. But what could you gather from the fans around you? Were you getting that this may be a different vibe of a game? I mean, what were you picking up on?
Well, I'll agree with Ian that there were hardly any Ravens fans there for the game. So it was very difficult to get an understanding of how, not that I really care, but how Ravens fans were feeling about it. And sometimes it's good to get that bounce off and know that both sides of that those fan bases are kind of feeling the same way. So obviously, when I was surrounded by our fans, I was definitely getting the impression that this was important. It wasn't, and I think we're also not forgetting, but there are a couple of points to to remember, which is that, like, this was for the AFC North, which we have always preferred. I know sometimes it doesn't even matter, but we love to be on top of the AFC North. That's where we always like to be. So that one was important. Ravens games, I do think they're different. I do think that they're more important than other games. I would even say more important than other division rival games for me. Like, Ravens games it's a historic rivalry. It's a rivalry, honestly, that I'm kind of like proud of. Like, I'm like, yeah, our team's a part of this huge rivalry, which always brings out great games. Best rivalry, I say, in the NFL. Beats Bears, Packers for me every time. Like, this is true NFL rivalry football. And so it does have a more intense feeling about it. The woman next to me, the most superstitious woman, worse than me, she, if she didn't look at the play when it happened, she wouldn't look for the rest of the drive. And I had to call out the play to her. It was amazing.
Was that the late you referenced somebody that was really superstitious on Twitter? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, she lives in Chicago, so she had her mom drive to her house to light her candle, which says "Manifesting a Steelers win" on it. Took a picture of it, and she held it in her hand the entire game. It was incredible. That was the vibe that people were giving. Like, if someone stood up, you felt the need to stand up again for the next drive. Like, people were taking it that seriously. And I think that also is what, going back a little bit to about talking a little bit about like Boswell and the reason we won was literally all those field goals.
Yeah.
I always find it a bit strange and I'm not dismissing the fact that it is not perfect. And like Ian said, it's not sustainable to win games that way.
Right.
But I do find it strange that people take such an issue with having a great kicker who wins you football games. Even if he's the best person on the team for that day, people are annoyed by that. Would you rather he had missed them? Would that make you feel
as if it's a slight that you win because of the kicker?
Yes.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. I would rather he was successful, even if he's the only successful scoring party on the offense.
That's good perspective.
Let's point out that at one point, Boz got into it and shoved a Ravens player.
Right.
I was like, dude,
as he should.
You're a skinny guy. This isn't a great idea.
He's a skinny Texan. And I mean, that's just who he is. And I wasn't surprised at all to see that.
And his middle name is Lynn.
That's right. Chris
After
Lynn
Nolan
Boswell.
Ryan.
I did not know that.
Lynn Nolan Ryan.
That's right.
All right, let me just address something in the chat because everybody's just giving me shit. But I'm saying your goal is to win the Super Bowl, but also win every game, right? So, in all week, everyone was telling me all week that I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson. I'm not worried about the Ravens. Okay, they beat the Ravens. So why are you fucking still worried about it? Why are you still talking shit? Like, I just like it's like, yes, I was
worried. I was very worried. I don't know about you.
No, I know. I wasn't talking about this. I wasn't talking about this group, but I'm just saying, yes, I understand that Ravens week is different. I worked there for 7 years. I fucking know it's different. For all you people out there think I'm just some jerk off, but I'm just saying that, like,
well, you are one, but that
I know it's that is fair. That is fair. Actually, I apologize.
Okay, so Scarps, I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Yes.
You were there for 7 years,
yes.
and that means you were there for a minimum of 14 regular season Ravens games.
Yes.
What makes it different? How do you know that it's Ravens week compared to when it's, Jaguars week?
Well, I will say that the head coach talks about it publicly. I mean, he always, it's Ravens week. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say it's Bengals week. It's Browns week. It's Jaguars week. It's Ravens week. And Mike is very smart about what he says. And also too, there's a different feeling in the locker room. Now, I will say that when I was there, and I know podcasts were a thing when I was there, but you didn't see Steelers players joining Ravens on certain podcasts. I know Deshaun Elliott and Marlon Humphrey were on like the same podcast because I'll tell you right now, a certain center, easy, Mark Malone. Christ. I mean,
it's a family Malone. Show, Malone.
Mark Malone.
Show
Listen,
here.
I know you caught like a 90-yard touchdown from Terry Bradshaw one time.
Blew your knee out.
But
Yeah.
a certain center that wore number 53 would walk in the room and you could just tell he was ready to fucking fight somebody on Monday
Yeah.
of Ravens week. But I don't think the rivalry is as once good as it was. And maybe that's because the Steelers have sort of owned the rivalry for the last 8 games. But I don't know if it's as, and again, I'm not stupid. I get that first place was on the line, but at the same time, I've seen the Steelers lose to bad Ravens teams in the past.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
every game to me is important, and you should never take your opponent lightly, whether it's a rivalry or not, because any given Sunday.
We used to talk on the show about the rivalry with Cleveland and how for so long you really couldn't classify it as a rivalry because it was so heavily dominated by us the last 25 years. And people were like, when Cleveland was competitive for a couple of years there, it was enjoyable again because it was a rivalry. Now, whether or not it's going to be sustained, I don't know. But yeah, go ahead, Ben.
The Steelers have won 8 of the last 9 versus the Ratbirds, right? And that's all well and good. Were any of those easy wins? No, never. If you didn't bring your A game, if your intensity level wasn't way over your head, you weren't going to win.
Vinny, I am with you, Vinny, all the way. I said that on Sunday night, and I'm still saying it today. I am more worried about this game than I was the Ravens game.
That actually is what I wanted to transition into.
Sure.
What do you guys think about the NFL scheduling the Steelers for a road Thursday game after the Ravens?
Ian, go ahead. I'll let you tackle that one first.
It sucks. Playing on Thursday sucks in general.
Yes, it does. It should be outlawed immediately.
Yes. Thursday games are the absolute worst things about the NFL. They're always terrible, sloppy games, but it's all about the almighty dollar, and they get these TV deals. And we talked about this back when the schedule came out, right? That this whole season the schedule was so much more built for TV networks than for fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
And after playing the Ravens, having to go play a Thursday night game absolutely sucks, especially against a division team. Whether the Browns are good or not, you're still going to play a division team on the road on a Thursday night.
It knows you well.
Yes. I could see if it was a home Thursday game, but I would have preferred the schedule be set up to have a Thursday game before the Ravens game and get like a mini bye where you get 10 days off before playing Baltimore. But no, we didn't get that. So, but this starts this really weird sequence of our schedule where we've got like the Wednesday Christmas game and this Thursday game, and then there's a Saturday game in there, and the rest of our schedule is just going to be weird. So we just have to deal with it. And that said, where we've talked about this for the last 5 years, right? Since the whole COVID season and everything was up in the air, where Mike Tomlin excels the most in week to week is keeping things consistent, keeping the team focused and on message, regardless of what's happening outside, regardless of what day they're playing, regardless of how many days between games or who the opponent is, just, keeping the team focused on this is the plan for this week. This is what we're doing. It's Thursday. Okay, here we go. And then we do get a little mini bye after this, which is kind of nice.
Scarps, when you guys went up to Cleveland, did you guys bus up?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's still kind of a tradition to bus up.
How was that ride for you there, Scarp? Did you enjoy it?
The ride up?
Yeah.
The ride up was great because we knew we were going to win. And then the ride back was always usually the ride. Most of the time we won. The ride back was always usually good too. But I was just looking at this because I remember this when it happened. Was for a period of time, the Steelers always had to play a Thursday night road game after playing on the road the week prior, and it was 2016. It was my last year there. I remember we were riding home from Cleveland, and we had a Thursday night game at Indy. It was a Thanksgiving game. So I had to spend a Sunday before Thanksgiving in shitty Cleveland. And then I had to spend a Thanksgiving away from my family in shitty. And actually, I love Indianapolis.
Indy is a nice place.
And I remember, and Mike, and literally I was 2 seats behind Mike Tomlin, and he turned around and he said, Ryan, when's the last fucking time a team had to play this many, back-to-back road games Sunday to Thursday? And I looked it up, and the only other team that had to do it in the last 8 years was the Green Bay Packers. So he had a point. And I haven't, obviously it's been a while since I've been there and I haven't looked at it, but it's coming off an emotional win against your rival, regardless what the chat says.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then you got to go on the road, and it's a bus trip. It's not too long.
No,
but
3 hours,
2.5. They usually stay in.
And they'll go up tomorrow, right? They'll go up on Wednesday.
Yeah, they'll go up tomorrow after a quick walkthrough. But I don't disagree. I don't want to. And believe me, I think too many fans think that the NFL has some bias against the Steelers. But
I don't think it's as bad as it could be.
They scheduled it. This makes it better TV.
Of course, it's all about.
It's better TV. It's about money.
I mean, Cleveland played on the road.
Better
has
TV.
To come back for a short week, and we at least were at home. And granted, it could be worse. We could be playing out in Vegas. We could be playing in LA.
Yes. And I think that they thought that the Browns would be better this year.
Oh, no doubt about it.
They thought that was going to be a good Thursday night matchup following the old Browns game. The old Browns versus the new Browns back to back.
And do we have a couple other games that can still be flexed yet?
I think so.
I think one of the Bengals games can be
Yes.
flexed. Yeah. They have not announced the season finale at home against Cincinnati yet.
Right.
They'll obviously wait and see what the playoff scenarios are before they do that, because that game could be a 1:00 or it could be your Sunday night game, depending on standings, everything else. So it's going to be interesting. I before we talk more about Cleveland, I want to go back to kind of two things. One, the throw by Wilson in the end zone that resulted in an interception, but then also on top of that, the fact that our receivers did not seem to do they were not doing a very good job of getting open in scramble situations.
Floppy as hell.
Ben, why in the hell not? I mean, you learn that in younger level football.
I'm sorry. This is coaching. This is coaching. I'm going to blame this on coaching. And somebody asked earlier, is it just a year of being under Matt Canada and you've got a strict design you have to stick to and you can't deviate? No, because again, if you're a coach, you go back to your players and you go, okay, the play breaks down. The quarterback is scrambling. He's out of the pocket. He's not where he's supposed to be. You need to get to be someplace where he can get you the ball. Even if all we do is move the chains. You don't necessarily have to score a touchdown. We move the chains. We live on. We fight another down. We fight another series, whatever. Right? Just get open so he can get you the ball someplace. And this is something that the Steelers excelled at under Ben, or with Ben, not under Ben, but with Ben.
Is it a young receiver issue though?
No, I don't think that's. I think it's coaching.
I don't either.
Really do. I truly believe. Last year I thought it was some attitude. Like DJ just has a shitty attitude, and they threw him the ball twice on Sunday, and I thought he dropped one, but I don't know. I haven't seen the replay. And the other one wasn't close. And then after that, he didn't need any more targets. So the guy was a non-factor. Didn't really matter. But last year, he was a non-factor because he just didn't seem to give a shit.
First of all, Ellie, don't listen to Aaron when it comes to discussing college football teams. The fact that they play in a stadium called a shoe It also tells you how bad it stinks there too. So, in any case, Ellie, were you? I'm not sure where you were sitting, but were you in the same end zone as that interception happened?
Oh yes, right in front of me.
So it was right in front of you.
Yeah.
How long did it seem like that ball hung in the air until it was intercepted? Because I know for me it was like, oh my God.
It felt like it went on for years.
Yeah.
That entire drive was sloppy anyway. To get to that point, and the worst thing about it was you saw the interception coming before. I can't even tell you how you just knew everything about it. The minute that ball was in the air, I just knew. I knew that was coming. I could just tell by the way everyone was positioned. The fact Washington wasn't even facing the right direction, which I do know that from what I've read from a lot of people, he wasn't even the intended target. So I'm not blaming him, but
I am.
He is like 6'8" if he could have just jumped, but whatever. Yeah, it went on for what felt like an entire game.
I almost wonder if he would have thrown it shorter. That it seemed like Washington would have had a better chance in that opportunity, but it's one of those things you can't.
When there's a broken play and you're a receiver, you're a skill position player,
right?
In the field, you need to look for the ball. The play is broken. Look for the ball.
And
again, coaching.
Yeah, it was a mess.
I will be critical of the coaching. I'm usually the guy who tries to defend it and it is all like, oh no, the players were blah blah blah. Leadership on the field is shitty or whatever. No, man, this is coaching. And maybe the quarterback could have communicated things a little bit better to them and been like, look, I'm running for my life today. There's going to be some times when I'm going to have to scramble. I need you guys to get open.
Yeah.
Scarps, what did you think of the Ravens 2-point play?
I thought it was terrible. They weren't set. They weren't ready.
Nope. And that was out of a timeout.
15 Aguilar got fucking blown up. Isaiah Likely had no idea what he was doing. And then Mark Andrews was like doing the fucking gritty into the end zone. And he wasn't even like eligible. They had run this pretty much the same play against the Bengals and were successful in a 2-point opportunity. But they had obviously a much better scheme. My biggest thing about Baltimore, and I don't know if this Casey will talk about this a little bit later, but my biggest thing about Baltimore is that like even in a 1-score game, they refused to try to get Derrick Henry involved in the fourth quarter.
I was stunned by his lack of touches.
And I just don't understand that. Like, they didn't try to throw a screen to him.
Nope.
He wasn't having a great day, though, man.
No,
but he had a couple of nice runs, but he was not having a great day. And
there were a couple where he was like a step away from
getting back to weird things happen in these games. Derrick Henry fumbles. He had a fumble for like 500 carries, and he fumbles the ball.
True.
And on a play that probably would have went for way more than he would have been if Herbig doesn't track him down. And they had some fumbles. They had this and that. But overall, that 2-point play to me was terrible. And in my opinion, the Ravens. And credit to the Steelers defense. They absolutely always have the plan to stop them. But I feel like Lamar Jackson had so many times to run and get some easy yards, and he just refused to. And I don't understand. And I don't understand what that is. And it reminded me last year of that AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. They were running the ball. He was running the ball. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We're going to prove that Lamar is a much better passer than you think.
Yep.
And like, fuck, if Russ gets hurt and Justin Fields becomes a starter again, and he has to run for 130 yards a game to get the Steelers to win, I'm totally okay with that. And I know I said earlier I don't want Fields in the red zone, but I think that there's like a difference like when you're the starter and when you're not the starter. And like Lamar Jackson's a 2-time MVP who's maybe on his way to a 3-time MVP. We'll see what happens. But I just felt that, whatever Steelers magic they have over the Ravens, it was on full display on Sunday.
They've got another tough one too. They got to go out to play the Chargers this week. And they're playing.
Who wants to bet right now? Who wants to bet right now? Lamar Jackson has a fucking dynamite game Monday night.
Oh, it wouldn't shock me at all.
And everyone is right there, back, being like, "Oh, he's the MVP."
Wouldn't shock me at all.
Long week.
As far as that 2-point play,
that travel thing, that's the thing that kind of sucks.
Yeah, the 2-point play, it was mentioned about Herbig blowing some dudes up. He was amazing, and I do have to credit JPJ, because that's a situation where you easily, as a young player, you could have got caught in that no man's land. Is he going to throw it? Is he going to run it? He said to hell with it and attacked Lamar Jackson and really ended up making that final piece of it. And so, credit to him, but obviously credit to Herbig and really the whole defense for that play in particular. Were you guys? I wasn't so sure about taking that timeout there. Tomlin took it.
It was worth it.
Yeah, well, clearly at the end of the day, it was. I just was curious because we were in a situation where we may have needed that timeout to go down and perhaps win the game with a field goal had they gotten the 2-point. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get too fired up over it. It ended positively, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
actually, I do have a question for you guys. And it might just be that my lack of understanding, but I did wonder, and maybe it's because the percentage of succeeding in them is so minute. Why didn't they go for an onside kick, the Ravens?
That's a great question.
In game, I was like, okay, well, you have to announce it now, so we're gonna know it's coming.
Yes,
we all thought in the stands that's exactly what we thought was coming.
And how much time was left? Because they had all three timeouts.
He had 3 timeouts. And
1 minute.
He was showing faith in his defense.
Like a minute 6?
Yeah, there was a minute and change.
I thought it was like a minute 47. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, that's probably more right, Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was under 2 minutes.
It was. Hold on. It was 1:06 left.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, but they had all 3 timeouts. So
is it possible, Ben, that one of the reasons Harbaugh didn't do that there is because if they don't get it, now they only need a few yards, and the way Boswell was kicking, maybe he makes another long one.
Maybe.
But we were still 2 points ahead.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying that. But
that's a 5-point game, and it's it's a 5-point game, and you've got.
There wouldn't have been much
far
time
less
left.
than a minute left. Maybe
right.
that's maybe that when he was thinking. I think he was trying to show faith in his defense, and he had the 3 timeouts, and so he just went, okay, if I can stop the clock every time, and we can get a 3 and out here, I can get the ball back, and we can get down the field, and we can kick a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that our kicker's range is really long, so we can get the field goal. And he missed the first 2, which was beautiful.
That was because of the turf, though.
Yeah, sure. And actually, if you read the whole quote, he really wasn't making exxcuses. He just said, "Well, it was less than ideal, but I've seen that here. I've seen it in other stadiums. I've seen it in our stadium."
Yeah. He's played on that turf many times. He knows what he's getting into. Yeah.
Whatever. But again, back to the Harbaugh thing. The reason I questioned it was Roquan Smith was out.
Mm-hmm. That changed the game when Roquan Smith went out
with the hamstring.
No doubt.
When Roquan Smith went out with the hamstring, all of a sudden the Steelers had room to run the ball.
Yeah, you could see it was like the parting of the Red Sea.
Yeah,
I thought Roquan Smith sucked though. Because
he does.
I don't know who said that.
He's not as good as Patrick Queen. I don't know if
Patrick Queen sucks without Roquan Smith.
Man,
it's almost like both of them are really good football players. Wow.
Yeah. No, Roquan going out changed the game, and I think Ellie to kind of try and think like Harbaugh, which sometimes he makes weird, dumb decisions, but I think everyone collectively kind of hit it on the head of if you have 3 timeouts, so if you stop them and we have to punt, you probably have better field position and be able to get a couple first downs
that's a good
and
point.
maybe kick a long field goal rather than trying an onside kick from, even if we recover, we're probably at 45-yard line midfield. Even if we go 3 and out there and punt, then they're back at their own 20-yard line. I think it was trying to be more of a field position kind of play. But everyone around us was shocked too. We all expected the onside kick. And when they lined up to kick it off, the people behind me were like, are they not allowed to onside kick anymore? And I was like, no, but they have to declare it now. And they obviously did. So like everyone in the stadium was shocked they didn't onside kick it after they missed the 2-point try.
Yeah.
That rule is really dumb, by the way.
It's horrible.
It is really
absolutely horrible.
It fucking sucks.
I'm not a fan of the dynamic.
By the same token, I mean, when you got a kicker all the way back, when he's 30 yards behind the guys that are going to be the pursuit, it's like, okay, so what if he's gonna kick it off 10 yards from that spot, and now you've got to recover it? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Good point by Melvin and Dr. Foyle here.
Man, Waitman had a heck of a game.
There were some unsung heroes in this game, and I would say Waitman averaging about 56 yards, 4 punts.
And he was gimpy on Sunday.
Yes, he was.
He was injured.
Ben Skoranek.
I was just typing. Yeah, I was just typing.
Ben Skoranek has been a good special teamer since they got him on. And he was gone for a little while. He was on IR.
Right. He was. But he drew at least one or two flags.
As soon as he came back.
Yep. And Dirty Red was back, and I think he drew a flag on a punt cover.
They lined up Skoranek as the fullback, like as the blocking back for Najee on the first play of the game, and he just put his head down and ran through the hole. I was laughing. I was like, I can't believe this guy who's like 5'8", 160, soaking wet, like put his head down and tried to be a lead blocker on this play.
Is he that? I thought he was bigger than that.
Or maybe he's a little bigger.
I think he's bigger than that, but he's our best blocking wide receiver.
Oh man, terrible. He had
a reception on Sunday.
That's true.
Dude had a reception on Sunday.
Yeah,
he's 6'3", 224, dude.
He did. He's getting way more PT than Scotty Miller is. I can tell you that.
Ben Skoranek had more yards than Deontay Johnson and Nelson Aguilar combined.
Oh, Deontay. Oh,
Fuck that guy.
Ben Skoranek is 6'3", 220. Come on, man.
Ian, what the hell are you talking about? I knew that dude had some. I thought he played some tight end.
I said he was 6'3", 224.
No, my bad. I didn't hear you.
He blocked really well though, and that was definitely. They'd run those formations with Van Jefferson early in the year when he came across the formation and had to seal the edge, and it was failing miserably. And now they had Skoranek doing it, and that was the first time I'd seen him do it on offense, but he did it really damn well. So I expect to see a lot more of that.
Where was Mike Williams on Sunday?
He was out there, but he didn't play much, and it was frustrating for me anyway, because they kept throwing the ball to Calvin Austin, who really wasn't doing a damn thing.
No, we've all stated on this program that Mike Williams isn't exactly, a route tree. I mean, he's a basic 3-4 type route guy. And so I know that limits him, but my God, get the ball to the guy once in a while.
Especially in the red zone, man.
Yeah. I just, it was just weird to me. I don't know. What can I tell you? So the Steelers obviously travel up to Cleveland this week, and we will see.
One other
go ahead,
thing,
Ian. Go ahead.
About the Ravens game before we move on to the Browns.
Yeah.
So I was at the game. I have not had a chance to go back and watch the All 22 yet because we're recording on a Tuesday. But this, at least to me, seemed like a very high-level game from a defensive strategy standpoint. Both teams were doing some, the Ravens on defense were running a lot of, I'll call them disguised coverages, but more like try and trap coverages. Like there was a 3rd and 3 play where they had Pickens was in the slot and had nobody on him. and Kyle Hamilton was like playing back, and Calvin Austin was on the outside and had a corner pressing him. And I was like, oh man, if Austin runs a go route and Pickens runs an out, that's going to be right there for the first down. And lo and behold, like it was one of those trap coverages where the corner just sat there on that out route by Pickens, and Hamilton picked up Austin going long. Like they, what looked like it was there pre-snap was not there post-snap. So both teams, I noticed it with the Ravens defensively specifically, but both teams were running a lot of disguised coverages. The Steelers were doing a lot of not only man-to-man coverage, but player-to-player coverage. Anytime Mark Andrews was in the game, Minka lined up basically over him, and they had KZ playing as the deep safety. Anytime Justice Hill was in the game, they pretty much had Peyton Wilson in the game shadowing him wherever he was going, and that led to the interception. But, and that goes to the positive side of coaching, that you're like, okay, they've got a guy who can do this. We're going to match up this guy against him. And Minka didn't have a great game against Andrews, but like you could see what the scheme was there. And Wilson obviously had the big play against Justice Hill with the interception.
Andrews is kind of good.
He's kind of good. Yeah.
Let's give him a little credibility. He's
an above average tight end.
He's an
all pro. He is an all pro.
He may have a bit of a size mismatch on Minka too. So, there's that. But I like schematically, just being at the game, watching it live, I thought it was a very high level game from a like defensive scheme and philosophy standpoint. So some of that too goes to, why aren't guys open? Well, the look you get pre-snap isn't always the defense you get them running after the snap either. So I think having a guy like Russ who has kind of seen everything definitely helped in those situations.
So what Ian is saying is the other guys get paid too, and they also have professional coaches.
They want to win and play. They want to win too.
Really good article on Peyton Wilson, by the way, in The Athletic today, from the Steelers beat writer, Mike, is it DeFabo? Yeah, really good stuff on Peyton Wilson and his struggles with injuries, but talks a little bit about just his upbringing and stuff, and really good stuff there at the Athletic. And no, they're not paying me to say that. Anyway, so Ellie, I've waited purposefully till later in the show because they do it later in the game. When Renegade happened,
yes,
were you at your seat? Please tell me you weren't like getting a beverage or anything like that. You were in your seat, ready to go.
I was at my seat, and like I said, the lady next to me, the superstitious lady, she, thank goodness, knew, because I obviously know roughly when it's going to happen, but she had like a seventh sense for it, truly. And she was like, Black, get your phone out. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did, and I caught it at the perfect time.
Awesome.
And I was trying to explain to someone about it, because I think I sent it to like a video of it to my mom, who isn't really into football.
Right.
But I like explained it to her, and I was like, if you look at this, all of these people, it looks like a sea of people wearing yellow. But after Renegade, all the seats go black, because almost everyone's wearing a black jersey or some sort of black polo or whatever. I said, this is how incredible like the waving of the terrible towel is. It makes it look like the entire place is gold, but it isn't. It is literally just everyone's towel at the exact same moment. I mean, there wasn't a single person sitting down, I don't think, for the entire thing. And it was amazing. It really was amazing.
I would have to guess the woman that was sitting next to you is probably a lifelong season ticket holder.
She actually was, and I could love her. She at the end of the game, just as I was leaving, she was like, I've never done this before, but I want to give you my number and my season tickets. If you ever want them, like, please reach out and you can use them. And I was like, I will definitely be reaching out to use those.
Wow.
Yeah, she was very kind. So I was very blessed.
That's awesome.
That is good stuff. And I don't care what they say about those people that live in Pittsburgh. There are some decent people there.
I mean, except for Ryan, but most of them are great. There are only a handful of haters.
A handful. Ben, what worries you most? And look, I know trap game, short week, all these things, but what worries you about the Cleveland Browns?
It ain't complicated, man.
Yeah.
Look, there's a huge emotional letdown after a really high emotional, intense game like Steelers Ratbirds on Sunday. I mean, I guess it would be worse if we'd lost, but we didn't. Mm-hmm. Regardless, it's difficult to carry that level of intensity through and then play again on Thursday, man. I can't even imagine it. I mean, and Mike Tomlin's like, well, whatever. I don't care. I don't care when they schedule them. We're just going to play. I don't care.
Well, and Mike's always been that way.
You have to acknowledge the fact that it's difficult to carry that through and structure the week appropriately. And I don't know how you would do that, honestly. I don't know how. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have one. I am just annoyed by the fact that the NFL screwed the Steelers over this week, in my opinion. And they did it not because they hate the Steelers, like everybody thinks.
Mm-hmm.
If there's some anti-Steelers bias. They did it because it's better TV.
Yes, that's the issue. Yes. Better TV, and we would be 100% remiss if we did not mention the fact that Hard Knocks is going to start rolling.
Which is why they gave us all these division games in the second half of the season.
Yep, it was mentioned in the chat. I'm not sure who said it, but it's spot on. No doubt in my mind that's a big reason for it. And I think anybody you talk to will flat out tell you that Mike Tomlin, who is already very popular with a lot of people, he's going to be even more popular with football fans after this airs. And Scarps, you can probably speak to that better than I can.
You still have Oktoberfest left?
Yeah. Interesting segue from my comment there. Yeah, by the way, Ian, since that keg is now done, what are we moving on to?
I don't know. We will go to the beer we will go to the beer store and see what they have in stock. But I poured the last beer out of my keg and I got 2/3 of a beer before it kicked. So yeah, here we go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot of good winter beers.
Yeah.
So
there are, yes. We'll see what's in stock. But Vinny had a great point in the chat about the weather here. Right now, and we mentioned this on our Slack chat too, that right now the forecast for Thursday in Cleveland is like 39 degrees with 25-mile-an-hour winds, and precipitation. And at 39 degrees, that could even be snow or rain, and that just sucks. That's the worst. Like I've always said, I would rather be 20 and snowing than 40 and raining, because cold rain is just the worst.
Agree.
Winter weather in Cleveland just sucks, period. I mean, they're right there on the lake.
Well,
it's
Cleveland just
windy.
sucks in general, but
I mean, it's already cold, right? So that's bad enough as it is. Maybe it's cold and it's rainy. Then you add wind. The wind is what really sucks when it's cold.
Yes.
And it's going to be windy. It's going to be gusty for that matter.
Yep. I think the running games are going to be huge. For the kicking games, obviously, as well.
Mark, you asked what worried us. The other thing I'll mention that worries me in this game is this is Cleveland's Super Bowl. We're going to their stadium.
Yep.
They're a 2-7, 2-8 team, whatever they are. They're a 2-win team that has the big brother Steelers coming to town. Stefanski might be coaching for his job, regardless of what he says in the media, that he's not worried about it. But this is their Super Bowl in front of their fans, and we're on a short week having to travel, and that worries me.
Agreed. Scarps, what's your big concern this week?
Real quick, I want to go back to a point that listen, everybody in the chat, I love you. I might give you a little shit back, but that's only because you're giving me shit. But we love you. We love the engagement. So please keep it coming.
Yes.
Somebody made a comment earlier about Roquan Smith having the worst. He's having a terrible year or whatever. He leads the league in tackles. And
I think he had 12 or 13 on Sunday before he got hurt.
He was everywhere.
and he also has more pass defense, forced fumbles, and interceptions than Minka Fitzpatrick. So if Roquan Smith's having a terrible year, I don't fucking know what the third highest paid safety in the league is having. Anyway, I'm gonna die on that hill. Anyway, I totally.
What's amazing about this is Roquan is.
What's
having
amazing
a down year.
is Ben never lets me finish a thought.
I'm agreeing with you. He's having a down year, and the guy is still outstanding.
Yes, I'm not saying he's having a great year, but like to just dismiss
No, he's
him
having
as,
a
like,
great
some
year.
fucking
Still, in my
scrub,
opinion,
man.
he's having a great year.
Minka's having a good year too, but he's just not. He's having a good year. I didn't say great. He's having a good year, but
okay.
The third highest paid safety in the league to me needs to do.
I
more.
need some splash plays.
And I'm not sorry.
That's
and
fair.
He can say that nobody's throwing my way, and I'm I have to handle my assignment. Well, then if your assignment is to do that, then we should be paying two people less than you to do the same assignment, because you're not allowed to take chances.
He made that comment specifically for you, Scarpino.
Yeah, apparently. So is untitled fighter gamer. I can't read right now.
I believe it's unidentified Gomer
gamer.
Okay.
And the box score watching.
It's all good.
Last thing, the box score watching. Please tell me any other safety in the league that doesn't get a turnover or be part of a turnover 20 games, and tell me what Steelers fan doesn't say that safety is trash. Fine, done, end of it. What scares me? High emotional win at home and going on the road on a short week.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I get it. I totally understand. Well, there's a comparison. Jamie just said my wife is just like Ben. Scarps, I know what you're going.
I love the
you
chat.
Must be wrong often, Jamie. That must be your problem. You should probably speak less.
Oh man, Ellie, do you have plans to go to another game anytime soon, or was this just like a great opportunity and you took it?
Oh no, I think I'll be going again. Definitely.
So,
I'm almost
Ellie,
disappointed I waited so long. Yeah.
Quick question for you. What is your game day routine? Like, what do you do? Where do you watch? Who do you watch with? How does it all work out? Like
when I'm watching here at home?
Yeah.
And just for facts, Ellie's in Florida. It's her home base of operations. So it's not like she has to get up extra early like some folks over in the UK.
No, not anymore. I did used to, but not anymore. My game day operations, I very rarely will I watch the game with other people, because first of all, most people are Tampa Bay fans around here, and I can't enjoy the game with people who aren't fellow Steelers fans. I find that it gets on my it just gets under my skin.
Absolutely.
And also I do have I'm quite a superstitious person, so I prefer to watch the game alone so that I can turn the sound down, turn the screen off, turn it back on, only look at Twitter. The only times it will get really bad is like we played the Chiefs. I can't remember when it was, a couple of years ago, and I sat on my stairs while my dad called the entire game for me because I couldn't bring myself to watch the game. I will get that bad. So I have to watch on my own, or other people will suffer. And other people's days will be ruined if I don't watch it on my own. So yeah, I watch it on my own in my room, shut all the doors, nobody come in, don't talk to me. I'm just gonna, and I even said on Sunday, I was like, there comes a point where I'm like, am I actually enjoying this? No. Maybe I'm not, actually.
Well, okay. Let's be honest though. Steelers Ravens is really hard to enjoy. That's difficult.
Yeah,
because the intensity level is so high. It's like we're all like, fuck, can we just have an easy Ravens game? Can it ever happen, please? Can we just ratchet down this anxiety that we feel all day? I don't think that ever happened. I don't remember the last time it did. I mean, I can't recall. I think a long time ago there was a 35-7 game. The Steelers beat the Ravens by.
Oh, that was that Monday night game that James Harrison blew up Ed Reed on the kickoff return. Yeah,
that was the huge stat game for Harrison.
So there was that. That was what, 17 years ago, 18 years ago. It was a long time ago.
There was also the game Ben threw 6 touchdown passes.
Yeah, by and large, those games they're just not easy. They just aren't. So they're not really enjoyable per se. But I, like you, am superstitious, and I have my routine I have to go through.
Right.
I have to watch the game in the same place, sitting in the same chair. I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym. And there have been mornings that was not fun because I drank the night before. I have breakfast with my friends before we go to the bar where we watch the game. There are like 100 Steelers fans in there, at least, on any given Sunday. And it's loud as hell. So nobody suffers listening to me scream at the TV because they feel the same emotions I'm feeling.
I think, I think definitely going to this game, and I did actually say this when I was there. Obviously, before I went there, I went and ate at one of the bars and had a few drinks, and it made me realize how much I do miss out on that. I don't know if camaraderie is the right word, but the environment of being surrounded by the other Steelers fans. I don't get that at all here. Do I know any other Steelers fans near me? Don't think so.
Isn't there a Steelers bar?
There's tons of Steelers bars in Florida.
There is, but I've been to one. Not many people go, and
really,
it in my area anyway. I don't get that kind of game day vibe.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't really. I mean, if I'm at a game, fine. But I'm the exact opposite as Ben. Where Ben's with 100 people or so. I just prefer to watch the game by myself in most cases. I take my very nice phone call from Melvin every week at halftime, and we fix everything that's going wrong with the Steelers and make sure that they adjust to it, and then I watch the second half. And now obviously social
How can
media
you be so calm? I can't even imagine.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm calm.
No, I'm not calm either on my own. I'm not calm.
I do a lot better now than I did 25 years ago. I've matured.
I have calmed down a lot because my kids are in the same room when I watch the game.
That's different.
I have cut down on the swearing. Now I just swear internally, and I just shake my head rather than swearing externally. But by the way,
mother, father, sister, brother.
Mark was away one week, so Melvin needed an outlet. So I got in on the Melvin text chat during the game, and it is outstanding. I highly recommend you guys also get on the Melvin text chat during the game because Melvin has some great insights.
Yep.
I actually do agree, by the way, about games with a lot of other people can be distracting.
I do too. That's a good point by Tom. The worst person in the world for me.
Attention to them.
There is no person worse in the world than the guy that always has to say, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" It's like, no, I'm not watching the game, idiot. I'm just sitting here with my hands over my eyes. Of course I saw that. Stop asking me.
I'm that guy who will say to him, "Yes, I saw it. Shut the fuck up." Sorry.
That's the same guy who, will go on the golf course and be like, "Oh, that's a golf shot. That's a golf shot.
That's a golf shot.
That's a golf shot." Like, no shit. Anything you do out here is a golf shot, my dude.
We have predictions to do, and then we have Casey Kasem before we get on out of here for the evening. So Ellie, let's go ahead and start with you first this evening. Do you have a prediction for this coming Thursday evening at the Mistake by the Lake?
I never like to give, it's a superstition, I never like to give exact numbers because I always come up opposite if I pick the Steelers to win and I give an exact score. So I'm going to say, honestly, I feel this will be, this is just the first thing that came to mind when I saw the weather, which I know someone mentioned in the chat, which I do actually think is really significant, especially when your kicker is winning the game for you, which we love. And the short week, and again, a division rival. This one, I think, maybe is more personal to the fans and the players than the Ravens game, but I still think it's significant. I honestly I think a very, very low scoring game. Like maybe breaking above 10 points.
Wow.
Maybe. Yeah, I think it could be a
because
really
the Browns offense
total.
No, not total, but like either team.
So you're thinking like a 10-7 game, something like that?
Yes, like I think the Steelers will win, but I think it will be a very low scoring game.
We beat them 10-6 in 2008. I remember.
That's the kind of game I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Vinny's been saying Mink is going to get his first pick for the last 13 weeks. I love you, Vinny. Go Bobcats tomorrow night. Big one. Big one.
Oh, my Broncos lost
what's
to the
tomorrow
Chiefs
night?
tonight.
Scarps. What's tomorrow night?
Ohio and who we got tomorrow night? Toledo? No.
Oh, that's a big interstate matchup right there.
Ohio at Toledo. And we are better than our record shows.
Scarps, what do you got for your prediction for tomorrow night?
Hater.
I mean Thursday night.
No, I'm not a hater. I've said it multiple times. Big division emotional game followed by on the road. And I said this to my buddies last week. The Detroit Lions had a road game where they were down big to the Texans. Came back and won. And then they were at home against the fucking lowly Jaguars and smashed them.
Yeah.
If this was back-to-back home games, I'd feel a lot more confident for the Steelers. That being said, I've picked against them the last 2 weeks, and it's worked, so I have to do it again.
Oh, boy.
I have to.
That's fair.
I think that,
I get that.
And I think that this is the game. I do think, though, that Myles Garrett is going to have a pretty good game. I really do. And no disrespect to TJ Watt, but TJ has not had the best season. He's had a really good season, but by his standards, it's not as good. And I could picture Myles Garrett having a good game and keeping this very, very close. And I'm going to say Browns 16-14.
Okay. 16-14 Browns. Ian, what do you got?
Yeah, so I don't think this is going to be as bad as that 2009 game, which was probably the worst, the lowest of the lows in Steelers' recent memory. That was 13-6, where Josh Cribbs, I think, returned a punt almost all the way for a touchdown. The Browns had like their third string quarterback playing, and Roethlisberger got sacked 8 times, and we threw the ball 40 times in a negative 25-degree wind chill with 40-mile-an-hour winds against the worst run defense in the league. At any rate, Bruce Arians sucked. Okay, I don't think this is going to be that bad. I think we are the better team. Deshaun Watson is out. Jameis Winston is in. Deshaun Watson not only is a sex offender, but also is the worst quarterback on the team. So Winston will take many chances with the ball and just throw the ball wherever. So there will definitely be interceptions to be had, but the Browns could also rattle off some big plays. So I'm gonna go. I think we pull it out, but it'll be
Gusty
close.
wins.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Steelers 17-13.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're not far. We're all not far off. I mean, it's not like it's
Ben, what do you got?
I think it's. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think that the ball is going to be wet and heavy, and it's going to be windy, and we're going to have a bunch of incompletions and maybe some picks. That'd be nice. I think that the Steelers' defense seems to be looking to strip the ball constantly. So we'll probably see some fumbles, maybe both ways, maybe not. I think that Chris Boswell finally misses a kick this week. And I think that the Steelers win
Yeah.
Last minute field goal, Bozzy 16-13. Bet the under.
The weather and the wind is nasty there. It coming off and it swirls and it can be really, really bad. I don't think it's as bad as it was in the old municipal stadium, but either way, it's still pretty ugly there. I do agree with you, Ben. I think Boswell will miss one or two just because of that. And but I don't think it costs the Steelers. I think they find a way to do this. And I will go 16-13 Steelers.
Am I the only Browns pick? Yes.
Yeah.
You're the only Browns fan on this show.
Yeah.
Sorry, one, right?
Scarps. Sorry, man. Sorry.
That's
hey,
okay.
Joe's in tonight. Hi, Joe. And for all of
Joe Nicholas. I used to see Joe every Sunday, and the fucker won't watch the games with us anymore.
Well,
he doesn't like us anymore. All right, Joe, it's fine.
Why.
Our feelings aren't hurt or anything.
In any case, it is now time for the late great Casey Kasem.
I got a new muse this week. Unidentified gamer. I love it. Who are you? Where are you?
It's actually Matt Smith with a different login.
It could be.
Casey, let it rip.
Casey's coast to coast. American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was November 14th, 1970. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week. He's a little under the weather, and he writes, Dear Casey, Yinzers, can you feel it? Russ is everywhere. Yinzers, can you feel it? Rush is everywhere. Casey, that's, of course, a parody of the Allman Brothers Band's revival off their second album, Idlewild South, released in 1970. Not to be confused with Idlewild Park in Ligonier, just past where the Steelers hold training camp. Casey, that song didn't quite make the top 40. It didn't even make the top 90. Most Allman Brothers songs didn't. But I don't need the critics to tell me what a good song is. If I don't know ball, then they don't know Allman Brothers. I hate myself. Speaking of the Allman Brothers, I got very excited earlier this week when I heard people talking about going to Blue Sky. I thought perhaps there was going to be a social media music hub dedicated to the Allman Brothers. But it turns out Blue Sky is just another social media platform where you idiots can argue about politics. Casey, do you know what could make social media even worse? How about another echo chamber where people just spew hatred and rat on each other like they did during COVID when they saw their neighbors sit on their back porches without wearing masks? Hello, is this the COVID denier hotline? This is Tim Waltz. Instead of Blue Sky, they should have called it Brown Eye, because you can all kiss my hairy Ohio State Buckeye. Oh, what else for you, Aaron? Speaking of Harry, how about that Ravens game on Sunday? Like many, I thought we were in for a high-scoring affair until Mike Tomlin again cast his blood magic on John Harbaugh. At one point, John Harbaugh was so scared that even Jim Harbaugh shit his khakis.
Hey, that's Mark's favorite coach.
Shut up, Ben.
Seriously, though, Casey, it was your typical Steelers Ravens. Even when I thought we were about to take command, Russell Wilson's floater attempt to Darnell Washington sunk like Steel Dad's floaters do after a couple of icy light mangoes and a fish sandwich. In all fairness to Darnell Washington, the dude is 300 pounds and was moving towards the goal line. Even physics wouldn't allow him to jump for that. Don't judge his weight, though. He ain't heavy. He's my brother.
Oh.
Well, Ryan, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars and keep your radio tuned right where it is. Up 16 spots this week to number 38. Here's Neil Diamond's cover of He Ain't Heavy. He's my brother.
Wow. All right. Well done, Casey, once again. I feel violated.
Diamond covered that? I didn't even know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it wasn't even the Hollies original, which I was surprised about.
Wow.
We learn something new every day.
I had no idea Diamond did that. Yeah. Thanks so much to everybody. Great engagement tonight in the chat. Thanks everybody
thank you
who
all
listens
so
on
much
their
for being
own
here.
or watches on their own. Thank you to Ellie joining us once again. She is always welcome at this program. She knows that. And stop by anytime, Ellie. And again, have a great night Thursday night. Enjoy the game. Hopefully it goes our way. And make sure you check out the site, steelcityblitz.com, and all of our socials. And yes, we're on Blue Sky now too, Joe. That's for sure. And I guess we can say this with a little more emphasis. Go Steelers.
Ravens suck, clearly.
Yeah, there we go.